Hi, teachers. I just wanted to share with you some ideas that might be useful for your Zoom lessons. So, I think one of the best ways to kind of make your class run more efficiently is to have students share a Google folder with you, or you can set up a folder and you can share it with them. And you should probably upload all your materials there. So, for example, with my students, I have all the folders that you can see here, for example. So for each class, I have a folder that I share with my students, and then within each folder, they'll have exercises or topics that are related to the content that you're teaching. And so the first thing that I like to do is every time I'm teaching something new, I like to obviously screencast and share the document with them. And here I have several choices. So you see the logo, like this one has a Google Chrome logo on it. So that means that if I click on this one, students will only see what I have open on the Google Chrome. Anything else I do on the computer, like for example, if I'm opening this menu, for example, or if I'm doing something else, they will not see it. They only see what you show on the Google Chrome app. If you want to show everything, you can share the entire screen, but if you do this, then they're going to see every single thing, like your desktop, all the files that you have placed on there, and the startup menu and things like that. So but anyway, so for my students, I just share my Chrome. So I'm going to click on this and I click share, and then obviously they're going to see this. And for my class, since we were talking about how to organize a persuasive speech, I had some materials from the textbook that I took pictures of, since I don't have a scanner at home. And so I share these, these photos with my students, and of course they all have access to it. So I would go on the first page, and I would guide them through. I would just do a typical lesson that you might do in class, and I would dictate what I talk about as I'm going through the information. So if you scroll up while you're casting, you have all these different options of things that you can do. And what I like to do is every time I'm talking about something, while you're looking at the document, I would like to use this annotation feature. So I will click on that. And you can do a lot of things. Like you can include text, you can draw lines or highlight things, draw circles and squares, you can add stamps, you can use highlight. Highlight is basically like a laser beam. So, if you're following along, students can follow along the red dots so you know what you're reading. Eraser, colors, undo, redo, clear. And you can even save the document. So for example, let's say, I'm going through the information and I'm going to highlight some important key information. I will highlight it for them, right? And I might include a text, for example, this is very important. This is very important, right? Okay, and, I will put that there. So you can annotate as you go along the information, and I can save it. So if, let's say I want to save this, my annotation with my students, I can save it, and it'll save it, and you can find it in the folder where it's saved. So you can share this later with your students. So I'm just going to clear this off real quick so I can clear all my drawings. Now you notice that there's a part that says clear viewers drawings. Well, what's cool about this is that you can actually have the participants, your students, annotate and draw things together, which is pretty cool. So if you click on more, you go here. So if you have participants, right now I don't have anyone in the room, so it doesn't show me the feature, but when you have students in the room, it'll show that you can let the students annotate the document. So you can have them write things as you're going along with the information, which is nice. And another thing I like to do is, as I'm dictating something like this, I always like to have a chat room open on the side, like this. And the reason is because, when you're talking about stuff, from the document, sometimes, you might want to ask some questions to the students to make sure that they understood what you were just talking about. So you might be like, okay, so what are the 3 ways that you can start your introduction in a persuasive speech? Can you write them down? right? So you can do like a review thing, and then everybody will type out their answers. 1, find common goals. 2, common problems, right? And so on, right? And then, everyone will, respond their own way. So it's another way to get them engaged as you're going through the content, because, you don't want to be just talking through the whole thing for 10 minutes, because then students are just going to lose interest. So it's a good way to kind of go back and forth between the content that you're talking about, and then, have students answer some questions as you go along the information. Okay. So that's one way to keep your students engaged. Right? So I'm going to clear all the drawings. Zoom can do a lot of things, and I always like to have the chat room open with the document that you're sharing with the students. And another thing I like to do is, let's say you want to do some teamwork or discussion work. What I have them do is, I would have them, for example, have an outline exercise, because I had the students get into a breakout room, and then they can go ahead and create the document themselves, and they can share that document with their breakout members, and they can work on their assignments. And once you're in the Google Doc, you actually don't need Zoom anymore, because you can simply click on Show Chat, and if you want, obviously you can join their breakout room and talk to them, but I can also talk to them through through the chat room in Google Doc. Okay. So instead of having to go back in and out of a breakout room, I can just go through, just open each document just like this, right? And I can just monitor their progress as they're working along, right? So it's just another easy way to keep track of what they're doing. All right. So that's how I conduct my Zoom classes. And if you have other cool ways of using Zoom, please feel free to share. But I just wanted to share what I did with my class, because I think my students really like the way I conducted it. So anyway, I hope you find this video helpful. And feel free to share this video to other teachers who you think might need it. All right. So thank you guys. Talk to you later.